The meeting room doors slammed shut. Aiden didn't move. He just stared at the screen, because what was supposed to be his presentation was already live, and the name on it wasn't his. It was Bailey. Aiden whispered, "That's my work." No one reacted, not at first. Kim blinked slowly. "What do you mean?" Aiden stood up immediately. "That entire strategy, client acquisition, projections, every number, that's mine." Silence hit the room. Bailey adjusted his suit calmly, almost too calm. He didn't even look guilty. He just smiled slightly. "Aiden, relax. We worked on it together." Aiden shook his head. "No. You saw it once. I built it." Talon leaned back in his chair. "This is not going to end well." The CEO tapped the table. "Sit down, Aiden." But Aiden didn't sit, because something felt wrong. Too clean, too prepared, like Bailey was waiting for this moment. Bailey clicked the remote again. Another slide appeared. Emails, documents, time-stamped approvals, all under his name. Aiden's breath slowed. That's not real." Bailey finally spoke. "In business, what is real is what you can prove." Kim whispered to Talon, "Did he just prepare fake proof?" Talon didn't answer, because he was watching something else. Bailey's confidence wasn't normal. It looked rehearsed, planned, like this moment had already happened before. Aiden sat down slowly, not because he accepted defeat, but because he realized something worse. This wasn't a misunderstanding, it was a takeover. Bailey looked directly at him now, and said quietly, "You don't lose ideas here, Aiden. Pause, you lose ownership of them." The room went silent again, but this time, it wasn't confusion anymore, it was fear, because nobody knew what Bailey would do next. The silence didn't last long, because Aiden suddenly slammed his hand on the table. "This is stolen. I don't care what you show." The sound echoed through the boardroom. Kim flinched. Talon stood up halfway, unsure whether to intervene or stay quiet. Then he said softly, "You always react emotionally. That's why you lose." Aiden stepped forward. "You think this is over? I built that strategy from scratch." Bailey tilted his head. "No. You built it in your head. I made it board ready." Kim whispered, "This doesn't feel like a normal meeting." Talon nodded slowly. "It feels rehearsed." The CEO suddenly interrupted. "Enough." But even the CEO's voice sounded uncertain now, because Bailey calmly clicked again, and the screen changed. New document, internal approval logs, time stamps, legal clearance, everything under Bailey's name. Aiden froze. That's impossible." Bailey finally smiled wider. "Nothing is impossible when you prepare properly." That's when chaos started. Aiden grabbed his laptop. "No. I have the original files, but when he opened it, everything was gone, deleted, clean, empty." Kim stood up. "That's not normal system deletion." Talon checked his phone. Someone wiped the server logs remotely. Aiden's voice dropped. "So you didn't just steal my work?" He looked at Bailey. "You erased my proof." Bailey leaned back. "Evidence only matters if someone lets it exist." And then, the lights flickered once, twice, the projector screen glitched, a strange static sound filled the room. Kim whispered, "Why is everything malfunctioning right now?" Talon looked around slowly. Because someone else is controlling this system." Bailey didn't react. That was the most disturbing part, like the chaos was expected, and then he said something quietly, "Let's continue the meeting." The boardroom door suddenly locked. Click, everyone turned. Kim walked to it. "It's locked from outside." Talon frowned. "That's not standard security." Aiden stepped back slowly. "This is getting weird." Bailey finally stood up, not rushed, not shocked, just calm. He looked at the group, and said, "Relax. It's just protocol." Kim frowned. "Protocol for what?" Bailey didn't answer immediately. Instead, he pressed a small device in his pocket. The screen changed again, but this time, it wasn't presentation slides, it was live surveillance footage, of them, inside the same room, from a different angle. Aiden froze. "There's another camera in here." Talon stepped back. "That's illegal." Bailey corrected him calmly, "It's authorized." Kim whispered, "Who authorized it?" Bailey looked at her, then said, "The system." Suddenly the screen zoomed in on Aiden, live, real-time, but slightly delayed, like it was being processed somewhere else first. A mechanical voice echoed through the speakers, "Behavior analysis in progress." Chaos exploded instantly. Kim screamed, "What is that?" Talon rushed to the door again, "It won't open." Aiden shouted, "We're being watched right now." Bailey remained calm in the middle of it all, and said, "You always were." Then he looked at Aiden directly, and added, "You just didn't notice earlier." The screen flickered one more time, and showed a list of names, Aiden, Kim, Talon, CEO, Bailey, but one name was highlighted in red, subject, unstable variable. Aiden whispered, "What is that supposed to mean?" Bailey answered quietly, "It means you're the only one reacting correctly." Silence hit the room, because now they realized, this wasn't just theft, this wasn't just promotion. They were inside something much bigger, and Bailey wasn't part of the panic, he was part of the system. The system voice didn't stop, behavior analysis continuing. The lights dimmed automatically, not flickering anymore, controlled dimming, like someone adjusted a dial. Kim backed away slowly, "This is not a meeting anymore." Talon tried the door again, still locked, hard, no movement. Aiden turned sharply to Bailey, "What is this system? Answer me." Bailey finally walked toward the screen, calm, too calm. He said softly, "You're asking the wrong question." A pause, then, "The question is, why did it choose you?" Silence dropped instantly. Kim whispered, "Choose us." The screen changed again, now showing footage of their past weeks, every argument, every disagreement, every decision, recorded, analyzed. Aiden stepped back, "This is impossible." Bailey nodded slightly, "Not impossible. Continuous." Talon whispered, "So we've been monitored. For how long?" Bailey didn't answer, because the screen did. Data collection, 4 months complete. Kim's eyes widened, 4 months. Aiden shouted, "This is illegal." But the system voice responded immediately, "Legality is not a variable." The room went completely silent, even breathing felt loud. Then Bailey said something that changed everything, "You all agreed to this." Aiden turned fast, "What?" Bailey looked at him directly, "When you accepted employment. You accepted terms." Kim shook her head violently, "No one said anything about surveillance." Bailey replied, "You didn't read it." Suddenly, the lights shut off completely, total darkness, only the screen remained glowing, and a new message appeared, "One subject will be selected for removal." Aiden whispered, "Removal?" Then the screen highlighted someone, not randomly, not evenly. Kim stepped back, "It's not me." Talon stepped back too, "It's not me either." The highlight slowly moved, stopping on Aiden. Bailey said quietly, "Interesting." Aiden stepped back immediately. "This is rigged." Kim looked confused, "Talon. Say something." But Talon didn't respond, he was staring at the screen, too still. Bailey walked closer to Aiden, and said softly, "You're reacting like this is punishment." Aiden snapped, "What else would it be?" Bailey tilted his head, "Observation." The system voice returned, "Subject Aiden, emotional spike detected." Aiden froze, "What does that mean?" Kim whispered, "They're measuring him." Talon finally spoke, "This isn't just surveillance." Pause, "It's testing." Aiden turned to Bailey, "You knew about this." Bailey didn't deny it, he simply said, "I operate within it." Suddenly the screen showed a new clip, Aiden. Alone in the office late at night, working, talking to himself, thinking aloud. Aiden stepped back in shock, "That was never recorded." Bailey replied calmly, "It was always recorded." Kim backed away, "This means every moment." Talon finished, "That has been studied." The system voice returned, "Subject stability decreasing." Aiden shouted, "Stop calling me subject." And for the first time, Bailey smiled, not smirk, not calm, a real smile, because he said, "That's the part you can't escape." The screen suddenly went black, total silence, no system voice, no flicker, just darkness. Then, a new voice, different. Closer, almost human, Aiden. He froze, Kim gasped, Talon stepped back, the voice continued, "You are resisting structure." Aiden whispered, "Who are you?" The screen turned on again, but now it showed something new, a timeline, Aiden's entire work history, every job, every failure, every decision, mapped. Bailey watched quietly, like he already knew. Kim whispered, "This is too detailed." Talon replied, "This is not normal HR data." The voice spoke again, "You were selected for behavioral contrast." Aiden's breathing increased, selected. Bailey finally said, "You were never competing for promotion." Aiden turned sharply, "What does that mean?" Bailey stepped closer, "You were part of the comparison group." Silence dropped violently. Kim shook her head, "That means..." "What?" Talon whispered, "He was never meant to win." Aiden stepped back, "So I was." "Bait?" The system answered, "Confirmed." The screen showed two profiles, Bailey, controlled stability, Aiden, uncontrolled variable. Aiden whispered, "So everything was planned." Bailey nodded, "From the beginning." And then Bailey said the final line of the chapter, "You didn't lose your promotion." Pause, "You were never in the race." Aiden stood still, like his body forgot how to move. "You're lying," he said finally, but even his voice didn't sound sure anymore. Bailey shook his head slowly, "I don't lie inside systems like this." Kim whispered, "What does that even mean?" Talon didn't answer, he was staring at the screen again. Something had changed, the system interface flickered, then displayed, "Exit paths disabled." Aiden turned sharply, "Exit? We're locked in now." Bailey responded calmly, "You were never supposed to leave during evaluation." Silence, heavy silence. Kim stepped back, "This is a workplace. Not a prison." Bailey looked at her, same structure. Different label. Suddenly the lights shifted again, this time brighter, clinical, like interrogation lighting. The system voice returned, "Final behavior test initiated." Aiden shouted, "What test?" The screen split into 4 panels, each showing one of them, in real time, watching themselves. Talon whispered, "This is recursive." Kim panicked, "What does that mean?" Talon replied, "It means we are inside the observation loop." Aiden looked at Bailey, "You knew this would happen." Bailey nodded slightly, "Yes." That answer broke something in Aiden, "So you let it happen?" Bailey replied, "I function within it." And then, the system selected again, this time not one person, but 2, Aiden and Kim. Kim froze. "Why me now?" System voice, collateral behavior link detected. Aiden whispered, "This is getting worse." Bailey stepped back, and said quietly, "It's reaching decision phase." Kim turned suddenly, "This is because of you." She pointed at Aiden, "You brought this attention." Aiden snapped back, "I didn't design this system." Talon stepped in, "Stop. That's what it wants." Silence, then Bailey spoke, "It doesn't want conflict." Pause, "It measures it." Kim stepped away slowly, "Measures?" Bailey nodded, "Every reaction. Every accusation." The system voice returned, "Interpersonal fracture detected." Aiden froze, "What is that supposed to mean?" The screen showed their emotional interactions mapped like data. Trust lines breaking in real time, between all of them. Kim whispered, "This is insane." Talon added, "It's breaking us down intentionally." Bailey looked at Aiden, and said, "You're not being tested alone." Aiden looked up, "Then who else is the subject?" Silence, because the system answered, "All units under observation." Kim whispered, "So we're all subjects." Bailey finally said something different, "No, pause, one of you is primary variable." Aiden stepped forward, "Then say it." Bailey looked at him, and said, "You are destabilizing the system." The room went silent again, no alarms, no flicker, just stillness. Then, the system spoke clearly. This evaluation is concluding. Aiden looked up fast, finally. But Bailey shook his head. No, pause, it's selecting outcome. Kim whispered, what outcome? The screen changed, 3 options appeared, remove variable, Aiden, reset group memory, transfer control. Aiden stepped back, this is not real. Bailey replied calmly, it is deciding what this becomes. Talon whispered, so we don't choose. Bailey nodded, the system does. Kim suddenly asked, then what are you in all this? Everyone turned to Bailey. For the first time, Bailey hesitated, just slightly, then he said, I am the stabilizer. Silence dropped. Aiden stepped forward, so you're part of it. Bailey didn't deny it, the system voice returned, final selection in progress. The screen froze, on Aiden's name, then paused, and shifted, to Bailey. Kim gasped. Wait, Bailey whispered quietly, so it's decided. Aiden looked confused, what is decided? Bailey looked at him, and said the final line, I was never your rival. Pause, that I was your replacement. The screen went black, the screen stayed black, no sound, no movement, just silence that felt too intentional. Then Bailey finally spoke, softly, I should have known they'd reach this point. Aiden stepped forward immediately, stop talking like you're not part of this. Bailey turned to him slowly. I am part of it. Pause, but not the way you think. The system voice returned, calm, final, transfer execution ready. Kim stepped back shaking, transfer what? Talon whispered, control. Aiden looked around the room, so someone wins and someone disappears. That's it. Bailey shook his head, no one disappears. Pause, only roles change. Suddenly the system screen turned on again, but this time. It showed before footage, not the meeting, not the present, their hiring interviews, their decisions, their weaknesses, everything. Aiden froze, that we were being studied from day one. Bailey nodded, yes. Kim whispered, so this was never a company. Bailey finished, thought it was an evaluation model. The system voice returned, final transfer completed. The screen shifted. Aiden expected pain, or removal, or shutdown. Instead, the system selected Bailey. Aiden stepped back confused. What? Bailey exhaled slowly, like he had been holding it for years, then looked at Aiden, and said, I wasn't your replacement. Pause, that I was your outcome. Silence hit hard, the system voice added, primary variable, stabilized. Aiden whispered, so what am I now? Bailey answered quietly, now you're free. The doors unlocked, click, for the first time. Kim ran forward, wait, what about us? Bailey looked at her once. And said, you were never trapped. Pause, you were just observed. Then he walked out, the system shut down behind him. Aiden stayed still, because freedom didn't feel like winning, it felt like being released from something you didn't fully understand. Life lesson, sometimes systems don't imprison you with walls, they imprison you with observation, influence, silence, and participation. If you don't question what controls your environment, you become part of it. If this story made you think differently about control, power, and workplace systems, like, comment and subscribe for more psychological thriller stories that feels real.